There is one habit that feels completely harmless today, but could quietly destroy the person you become 5 years from now. And the terrifying part? You probably do it every single day. It doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't feel dangerous. In fact, it often feels like you're taking a break. But little by little, it changes the way your brain thinks, the way you spend your time, and eventually, the way you live your life. The habit is simple. Choosing what feels good now, over what matters later. Think about it. You wake up and tell yourself you'll start working out tomorrow. You open your laptop to work, but check your phone first. You want to learn a new skill, but watch one more video. You want to start a business, but decide to research a little more. You want to write that book, apply for that job, or finally change your life. But somehow, the perfect time never arrives. And here's where it gets interesting. You don't usually destroy your future with one terrible decision. You destroy it through thousands of tiny decisions that seem too small to matter. One skipped workout. One wasted hour. One unnecessary purchase. One more episode. One more day of saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." And because each decision is so small, your brain never sounds the alarm. That's what makes this habit so dangerous. Imagine you had a choice. You could receive $100 today, or $150 1 year from now. Most people understand that waiting might be smarter. But now change the numbers. Imagine you could receive $100 today, or $10,000 10 years from now. Suddenly, the decision feels obvious. The problem is that real life doesn't give you choices this clearly. Your future doesn't stand in front of you holding a sign that says, "This is what you're giving up." Instead, your future is invisible. And your present is right there. Your phone is right there. The snack is right there. The entertainment is right there. The comfort is right there. Your future. You can't see it. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. And your brain is incredibly good at choosing rewards it can experience immediately. This is why scrolling for 10 minutes can turn into an hour. The first 10 minutes feel harmless. Then another video appears. Then another. And suddenly, you've traded an hour of your future for a few seconds of entertainment at a time. But here's the part most people miss. The problem isn't that you wasted 1 hour. The problem is what that hour teaches your brain. Every time you choose instant comfort over meaningful effort, you're practicing a behavior. And the brain gets better at what you repeatedly practice. If you repeatedly avoid difficult tasks, your brain becomes better at avoidance. If you repeatedly reach for your phone whenever you're bored, your brain becomes better at escaping boredom. If you repeatedly quit when something becomes uncomfortable, your brain begins to associate discomfort with stopping. And eventually, something strange happens. You don't even feel like you're making a choice anymore. You just do it automatically. That's how habits become invisible. But there's an even deeper problem. The habit of choosing short-term comfort doesn't just steal your time. It slowly changes your identity. Imagine two people. Both have a dream. Both want to become healthier. Both want to build a successful career. Both want financial freedom. Both have exactly 24 hours in a day. On Monday, one person says, "I'll start tomorrow." The other spends 20 minutes learning something useful. On Tuesday, the first person says, "I'm too tired." The second person does another 20 minutes. On Wednesday, the first person feels guilty and promises to make up for it later. The second person continues. Nothing dramatic happens. No one becomes successful overnight. No one becomes a failure overnight. But after 1 year, something changes. The first person has a collection of promises they made to themselves. The second person has a collection of evidence. Evidence that they can trust themselves. And this is where the real difference begins. Success isn't only about what you accomplish. It's also about what your daily actions teach you to believe about yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. Every time you break one, you cast a vote in the opposite direction. One vote doesn't matter much. But thousands of votes eventually create an identity. And identity is powerful. Because once you start thinking, "I'm just not disciplined," you begin acting like someone who isn't disciplined. Once you think, "I'm bad with money," you stop expecting yourself to make good financial decisions. Once you think, I'm always behind, you begin living as if catching up is impossible. The habit becomes your identity. And your identity becomes your future. But wait. There's another trap hiding underneath all of this. Sometimes, the habit isn't laziness. It's emotional avoidance. You aren't avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feeling the task creates. Maybe you don't want to study because you're afraid you'll discover you're not as smart as you hoped. Maybe you don't want to apply for the job because rejection would hurt. Maybe you don't want to start the business because failure would force you to question yourself. Maybe you don't want to go to the gym because you feel uncomfortable being a beginner. So instead, you do something easier. You scroll. You clean. You organize. You research. You tell yourself you're preparing. But deep down, you're waiting for the uncomfortable feeling to disappear. And here's the uncomfortable truth. It probably won't. The people who change their lives aren't necessarily people who feel motivated all the time. They're people who learn that discomfort isn't always a warning. Sometimes, discomfort is simply the price of entering a better life. Think about the last time you did something difficult that eventually changed you. Maybe it was your first day at a new job. Your first public speech. Your first workout. Your first time asking someone out. Your first attempt at something you weren't good at. Before you did it, your brain probably said, "This is going to be terrible." But after you survived it, something changed. The thing you feared became normal. That's how growth works. You don't wait until you're comfortable to act. You act, and then your brain slowly learns that the discomfort is survivable. But the habit of instant comfort teaches the opposite lesson. It tells your brain, if something feels uncomfortable, escape. And the more often you listen to that voice, the louder it becomes. This is why your future can be destroyed without anything dramatic happening. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly lose 5 years. You lose 5 years in tiny pieces. 20 minutes here. An hour there. A decision postponed. A dream delayed. A skill never learned. A conversation never started. A risk never taken. And the most painful part. At the time, every single one of those choices feels reasonable. That's why you need to ask yourself a different question. Not, is this bad for me? But, what is this training me to become? When you spend an hour scrolling, you're not just spending an hour. You're practicing distraction. When you avoid difficult work, you're not just avoiding one task. You're practicing avoidance. When you constantly choose comfort, you're not just resting. You're teaching yourself that discomfort should control your decisions. And once you see your choices this way, something changes. You stop asking, does this feel good right now? And you start asking, what kind of person does this choice create? That's the question that can change everything. Because your future isn't created by the goals you write down. It's created by the behaviors you repeat when nobody is watching. So here's a simple experiment. The next time you catch yourself saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," don't promise yourself an entire transformation. Don't say you'll work out for 2 hours. Don't say you'll study all night.